The first step in understanding how to do the weeding properly is to understand what is a weed and what isn't a weed. When I first started out, when I was a teenager doing this for people, I learned very quickly not to pull something that is not a weed. I had some elderly ladies who had been nursing these flowers and these perennials for so many years. And man, I learned that lesson the hard way. They came out one day and I had uprooted all their daisies, perennial daisies that had been there for years. And I uprooted some of their irises, and it was a mess. And I learned my lesson. So very important to know the difference. But in this case, if you're looking at this, what would you say this is? Is this all weeds, or is this a mixture of dead growth that needs to be taken out and actual weeds? If you answered correctly by saying that it's a mixture of both, you would be correct. This is dead foliage from this plant that needs to be taken out. A mixture of morning glory that's been killed from my spraying efforts, which we'll talk about in another video. Grass that's kind of over to underneath the curbing from its expansive root system that I've sprayed, so it's now dead, so it's very easy to remove. Look at this. We have some other weeds that we needed to get out. Now a lot of these I've sprayed already to kill, so they're much easier to get out, but if these were alive, they would be a real pain. I didn't take out this plant, which is a bulbed plant. I didn't take it out. What I did was I just removed its dead foliage. So knowing the difference between what is a weed and what is not will take some practice. Definitely will. And it might take some pretty rough learning experiences, but like I had when I was younger at this. But don't let that stop you. Do it right, and you'll have a beautiful garden, and your perennials that you haven't pulled out will come back every year. And if you're doing it for someone else, make sure you know the difference. Now, in a large expansive area, this isn't considered a large expansive area full of weeds, but if you had like a field and the weeds were surface level, you could use what we call a hula hoe. A hula hoe is basically, this is a metal rake called a bow rake, but a hula hoe is a small hoe about this size, and it's a square, and it allows you to just simply get underneath that dirt just at the surface level and move it around back and forth like this, and it breaks up the soil, and what you're left with are the weeds just sitting there at the surface. Then you can take your bow rake and gently rake them out. And for large expansive areas, that's a back saver for you and a time saver, especially if you're doing this for a living. If this video was helpful and you gained from it the tips and tricks that I offer and some of the things that I've learned over the years, be sure to like and subscribe my channel, Mark's Lawn and Garden, where you'll be notified when new videos come out. I try to post once a week, so be sure to like and tap the follow button so you get notified and stay in touch. Very important. Thank you so much for your support, and be sure to put in the comments things that you want to learn about, things that topics that you might want me to cover that would be helpful to you and your family, and your making your project and landscapes better. Thank you.